Net neutrality. We are somehow still talking about net neutrality. But it's important, so let's get into it. My name is Costa Michaelides. I am a candidate for United States Congress in 2018. I've spent most of my time in this campaign listening to people. And when it came to the internet, I reached out to software engineers, web developers, web designers, friends and beyond just friends. And I myself am a programmer, and everybody who works on the internet somehow, or owns a business that runs on the internet, or is a blogger, or uses the internet, or creates content online in some way, talks about how important net neutrality is. On the flip side, anybody who consumes content on the internet gets really angry when they don't have good internet access. So we all understand the value of the internet. We use it every day. So what's going on right now is there's a motion before the FCC to roll back Title II classifications of the internet to what we had before, or some version of what we had before. I think this is a bad thing. I think Title II classifications for the internet is good. Net neutrality on its own is good. So let's explain why. The last network that we had before the internet is a global network. It's a worldwide network of computers. And creators, people create content, put it online, and then distribute it around the world. And that content is on equal footing for the most part, which is kind of awesome. The last network we had was television, and that wasn't the case, right? For cable TV had owners. The networks owned the network, right? The cable companies owned the television network, and if you wanted to create something for TV, you had to go through one of the networks. What happened over time as the internet showed up is that more and more of our time, consumers spent more and more of their time online and less watching TV. And so we started to consume so much content online that eventually people started cutting their cords, right? Cord cutters. They were like, why do I need cable anymore? I could just watch, the content that I want online. And even before that, cable companies were having problems, and they wanted a piece of the internet action too. But once cord cutting started happening, it started to become really important. I mean, the money they were making hand over fist kind of isn't there anymore. So that's cord cutting. Now, what happens is the cable companies basically engage in some really serious lobbying activities. And the way that lobbying is going on is that they are politicizing the issue, right? It doesn't matter that a bunch of years ago we were, Obama was in power and we were campaigning for net neutrality really hard. Now Trump is in charge and we're campaigning for net neutrality really hard. And, it's an issue that's important to people. And internet businesses and so on. But they're trying really hard to politicize it. So they're trying to associate net neutrality with Obama, because there's plenty of people out there who don't like Obama. And that's fine. You don't have to like Obama. But associating net neutrality and Obama is a misnomer. That makes no sense. Net neutrality has been around a lot longer than that, and it should continue to be around a lot longer than Trump. So there's a huge lobbying effort, and they're trying really hard to divide people along party lines. It's not a party issue. One of the statements that's being made by Ajit Pai, who's chairman of the FCC, who's spearheading this thing, he also used to be a lawyer for Verizon, so he's squarely in that lobbying camp. But one of the arguments he's making is that net neutrality rules diminish innovation. And what's really absent from that analysis, and I've read through his analysis, what's really absent is innovation that happens online. So, and it's not actually true for telecoms either. So communication companies are innovating. They are improving the infrastructure in the network and making investments. They say this to their investors. They say this to all kinds of people. So they are innovating. But even if they weren't, you would still have to consider all of the businesses built on top of the infrastructure that telecommunication companies provide, right? And all of that is, getting a product delivered to your door by Amazon. That's innovation that's happening online. Connecting with your friends on Facebook, that blog you really like to read, signing up to a newsletter, having your own YouTube channel, and so on and so forth. And those are just the big names. There's a whole lot of tiny internet companies that we use day in and day out that are also innovators on the network, on the internet. So that's the innovation argument, and it's really kind of a misnomer. So Title II classification is a good thing. It basically forces telecommunications companies not to differentiate traffic. So when there's internet traffic coming in and out of your house, they can't say, oh, this is media stuff, you have to pay a different price for it. And this is social content, and you pay a different price for that. And this is like, there are freedom of speech dangers here. So you can even say that there are certain types of content that is risky or unknown or could be a scam. but could be a scam could be an excuse for hiding content that's like politically unfavorable and so on and so forth. So really you want zero discrimination on what comes in and out of those internet pipelines. You want to be able to consume any content you want, produce any kind of content you want, and you don't really want rules around that content. So Title II classification forces cable companies not to impose arbitrary rules around what kind of internet traffic comes in and out. There's probably a lot of questions on this one. So I'm happy to take questions. I'm happy to introduce some web developers into our conversation for that. Please put questions in the comments on Facebook or YouTube or wherever else. And I'll also put a link in there for Battle for the Net. The FCC vote comes up in a week. So if you want to sign a petition, express your voice, call your congressperson and tell them what you think, it's a really important thing to do. Hope you do that. Again, my name's Kosta Michaelides. I am running for United States Congress. Let me throw up a map. I am running in District 3 for the U.S. House of Representatives. So if you live in that district, or if you know anybody near there, or if you're in New York in general, I'll put a link in the description for our campaign. And hope you tune in for more videos in the future. Talk soon.